Hi,
Hello,
Ed.
how are
Hi,
you?
how are you?
Baruch
Yeah,
Hashem. Good.
good, good. Ernest, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Hi.
Good
Hello.
evening, everybody.
Okay.
We are on Kufay 105. Gemara. Amar Bava Bar Mama Lamar Rav. So we learned in the Mishnah that Ben Nanis says that we go after the last lashon. That means if he said Chevel Hein Chaser Hein Yeser, I'm gonna sell you the land measured by the rope, and then he concludes by saying more or less. So we follow his last statement. The last statement came to Mavatal, the first statement. The Chachamim don't agree. So my Kamash Malan, I mean, what's the Chiddush of this Mishnah? Tanina, we already learned this. Maisa b'tzipoiri. There was a case in the city of Tzipoiri. A person rented a bathhouse for 12 months. And he was going to run it. Right? He's going to pay a monthly rent. He's going to conduct business, try to make profit. What's the deal between the owner of the property of the bathhouse and the renter? They say 12 golden coins per year. Dinner zov l'chodesh, a golden dinner every month. So he made two statements. What about a leap year? Is the 13 months included in Shnei Masar Zehuvim L'Shana, or you have to pay 13 because he said a golden coin per month. So the psak was it's a suffix. So they divide it. They divide the 13th month. So from there we see that they don't hold like Ben Nanis, that the second language is Tafus Lashon Achra. Because they divide it, both we have to take into account both Lashonas. So the Gemara is asking, why did this have to be repeated in our Mishnah? We already learned this principle by the case of the bathhouse. So the Gemara says, no. Ime Hassam, if we would only have the case of the bathhouse, Havamina Hassamu, the Ikala Maimer Ma'adaka Haderbei. On one hand, maybe he changed his mind from 12 zehuvim per year and went to a dinner per month. On the other hand, maybe the second statement was just a peirush of the first statement. That the payment is made every month, a dinner zah b'chol chodesh, and since we don't know for sure is this a peirush or not, it's a suffix. They divide it. Aval hacha vaday kahaderbei mida bechevel versus hein chaser hein yoser are diametrically opposed. You can't say that hein chaser hein yoser is an explanation of mida bechevel, like what we want to say here that it was perush and mefurish. So maybe ema lo. Maybe in our case of our Mishnah, they don't argue with Ben Nanis. They'll be more than the Brahman. Kamash Balad, no. Even in this case, they argue. Amar Rav Shmuel. Zu Kedivrei Ben Nanis. Our Mishnah is Ben Nanis, who goes after Lashon Achra. Aval Chachamim Oimrim Halech Achar Pochash Shabelashonis. You know what? It's a mum in this case. We go after the least common denominator, means the least amount of money. Because otherwise you have a motzim chaver alav araya problems. If it's so the least amount of money that would be owed. Now, by saying zu by saying that Shmuel says zu. This is the opinion of Ben Nanas, implying that Shmuel himself lo svirale, that Shmuel doesn't hold of Ben Nanas. Frankly, more Rav and Shmuel Damar Tarvayu, Rav and Shmuel both agree in a case of kur, which is a 30 saw of wheat, bishloishim for 30 sela ani moichelacha, yachar lachzer bo afilu b'sachron. Until you actually hand over all 30, the seller can go back because he made it tonight to sell the whole 30. Since he hasn't measured out the whole 30, the mechira hasn't concluded. On the other hand, if he says, kur b'shloishim, a shloishim kur saw b'sel ani moichelacha, a saw for each seller, then rishon kona. As you measure out, the first case you can go back on the whole deal. But in the second case, as each saw is measured out, the deal is concluded. Here it seems that Shmuel is following Lashon Achron, saw b'sela, and he's selling each one independently. So how could you say zu benanis and he doesn't hold of it? We see that he does hold of it. So ela zu v'svirale. Like normally when an Amoira says zu divrei benanis, but the Chachamim argue the Amoira that is stating that usually doesn't hold of that person. That's why he says zu divrei benanis. Oh, those are the words of benanis, but I don't hold of that. No. Here, the Gemara tells us zu svirale. Shmuel's holding like benanis, that you follow Lashon Achron. So now the Gemara asks 180 degrees. Umi svirale? Does Shmuel hold Tofus Lashon Achron? V'amar Shmuel. In the case of the renting of the bathhouse, of Shnei Masar Zehuvim L'Shana Dinner L'Chodesh, that the 13th month, they should divide. That's only Beba Be'emtza Chodesh Askim. The one who's renting out the bathhouse comes in the middle of that month to demand his rental payment. Then they divide. But if he came in the beginning of the month, kula lamaskir, everything goes to the person who's owning the place, who's renting it out. He's the muhzik. He owns it. Vice versa, b'sofa chodesh, if the guy only showed up at the end of the month, kula l'soicher, he's holding on to the money. He doesn't give anything. So it's not a matter, Shmuel is not holding the way he holds because of Tofus Lashon Achron. It's a suffix that's equal. It depends on when he comes. And we're still using the principle of Motzei Mechaber Elav Haraya. So we're back to La'olam Zu V'lo Svirale. When he said, Shmuel, Zu Divrei Benanis, he meant, yes, these are the words Benanis, I don't hold of it, of Tofus Lashon Achron. That when you have a person makes a statement, and within that statement there are two conflicting ideas, it's a suffix. And he holds like Chacham. V'hasam, by the case of the Schirus, time amai, why if he comes in the middle of the month, it belongs to the maskir, and at the end it's l'socha mishum, the tofus, it's as a suffix, you leave whatever, the money, whoever's in the possession of the money, or the land, who's ever in possession of the land. Hachanami, when you talked about the kur b'shloishim saw b'sela, the same thing, hatafas. It's either in the basket of the buyer that already belongs to him, and the moicha can't go back, or it's not. And it's not because of this principle of tafus lashon achron. Okay, very interesting analysis here. Ravuna, Amr Rav. Istra mea moi. Now, an istra is a Roman coin that was made up of 96 ma'os. So again, the word istra mea moi are two words that are in contradiction with each other. Istra means 96 ma'os. And then he says mea moi. So what is his intent? We say lemea moi. We say his intent is he's going to pay 100 mos for whatever he's buying. But if he says vice versa, mea moi istera, his kavona is for 96. It's the istera. Now, my kamash malon, what is Rav teaching us here? Tafus lashon achron? Is that what's going on here? That since istra mea moi, the last thing he said was mea moi, and that's why he owes mea moi. Versus if he said mea moi istra, he owes istra. Is this chiddush tafus lashon achron? Ha'amra Rav Chada Zimna Amarav. Rav already said this already. Why would we repeat it? We already have somewhere else where Rav says this concept.
So,
So Yavi awesome. Amarav, in the case of the renting out the bathhouse for a year, Rav said, if I was with Rav Shimon Gamliel, Yavi awesome, Havi evening kula lemaskir, I would have given the whole rental payment to the owner of the bathhouse. Because in the end, he said, dinner zov l'chodesh, which means he gets the extra dinner. Which is tafus lashon achron. So why do I have to be told the case of mea moi, istra mea moi, moa mea moi istra? It's the same principle. Tafus lashon achron. Why are we repeating the chiddush of Rav? You know why? Because you can't learn one from the other. We need both dinim to be told, both by the case of the schirus of the merchatz and here by the coin. Iyit marha v'lo iyit marha, I would have had a different reasoning. Hava mina ma'adir ka'adarbe. By istera, and then he said mea moi, he changed his mind. Because they're not the same thing. You can't interpret one like the other. So there clearly he's changing his mind. That's why we go after lashon achron. Aval hacha, but by the chodesh, that 13th month, again, maybe there's a smart to say prusha komafarish. When he said, I'm giving you 12 dinner for the year, and then he concluded and say a dinner per month, it's not in opposition to that. It's further clarification that in a leap year, it won't be 12, it'll be 13. So it's not a proof over there that every case after lashon achron, kamash malon, that in general we do hold of this principle of holchin achar lashon achron. Okay. Tonight, the tzurba is going to be at 8 o'clock, and again tomorrow we'll learn the Gemara at 7 o'clock. Okay.
very good.
That
Thank
works.
you.
Very good, everybody.
Why is the Gemara 7 o'clock tomorrow night?
That's when we're now going to learn the Gemara every night.
7 o'clock now every night.
Oh, you mean, I'm sorry. Tomorrow we can learn at 8 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Either
one works. It's okay. It's fine. Thursday.
On the nights that we have to learn early, that
Yeah.
time will be 7 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.